Happy Bryce James press conference day.
Welcome on in, guys, to the AZ Wildcats podcast. I'm Damon Farrell. That is Kevin Thomas, and we are in downtown Phoenix at PHNX HQ2. Took the entire family today, and I say family with like a PH on the front of it, Kevin.
Ooh,
over
fire.
to the new office building this morning. Got to check out kind of what our new space is going to look like. Saw it on a Monday morning as well, and we are fired up for the little vibe switch that we're going to have going into this Arizona football season, which some could argue maybe that's going to be the real difference maker this season is just switching up the vibes. Maybe that's what the problem was, just a little tired of the same old, and a couple new coordinators, new office building, and maybe a football team that wins in succession of that, Kevin. But how are you doing today, my guy? And excited to talk some Arizona athletics with you.
Very excited. Happy Tuesday to all those that celebrate Tuesdays out there in the world. Very excited for the new office space. It is huge, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know how we're going to fill this space, but we're going to fill this space, and it's going to be beautiful. Like you said, we did bring the whole family over there. Someone even went through the trouble of photoshopping our beloved Johnny Venerable onto Connor Cox's knee.
Not cool, by the way.
It was pretty, not accurate Johnny Venerable size.
Not funny.
Allegedly. Some people are saying that it was, but some people are saying that it's not. So we're gonna have to get Johnny V back in the studio, recreate that photo.
Chris, by the way, he's an ASU fan though. I don't think he watches this show, but he's in my DMs constantly talking trash all the time.
But yeah, shout out to the new HQ3 coming soon. HQ2 is being packed up literally as we speak, as we're doing this show. So very excited for all that is to come. And as our guy Edgar Ortiz said yesterday in the chat, new office, new pod, but new year. New Arizona Wildcats football team, Damon. I'm very excited for, mostly the Seth Dagey offense, but I'm really intrigued about that defense and how they're going to come together. Michael in the chat says, when do y'all move in to the new offices? Very soon.
I believe Friday's the start of the process, and then by the weekend, everything should be moved over, and by Monday's show, we'll have a brand new studio to be in. So, yeah, excited for it. It's going to be a quick turnaround, but it's going to be a good change.
Remote show on Friday. Still 2 p.m., but Damon and I will not be in these same seats. I guess theoretically we could take them home if we wanted to, but
your new home office is just gonna blow my shot out of the water.
I haven't set it up yet.
I'm gonna be so embarrassed.
See, that's the thing. I have no camera I do have a camera, but it's in the box, so we're gonna have to figure all that out.
I wish I was playing when I said this. Kevin genuinely has a tiger rug.
It's
laid out on the floor.
God.
With like the full head on one end and like the back legs on the other. It's unbelievable.
He's portraying
how much money are we paying this guy?
He's portraying me like I'm like a dictator or something, and I went out and hunted this tiger and
looks
killed
quite
it.
Like that. It's like a Siberian tiger too.
I got this rug off of a brand redacted, massive site that just sells and delivers things very quickly, almost, as if they went through a certain jungle to get there. You know what I mean?
God knows how much neon signs are these days, Kevin. And I mean, you got your own neon sign in there.
Are we doing that?
It's unreal,
we doing that?
Dude.
I didn't purchase that neon sign. I think you know that. So I didn't steal it either, but it was given to me in a way. So
Michael, I don't know what's going on here.
To be fair, Damon does need a raise. That's a fact.
People were talking. I think it's probably got something to do with the Bryce James shorts. I think that's what it is. Kevin handles most of our Bryce James content at the channel, and so I think that's probably why they're maybe throwing a little bit extra his way, which is earned, man.
For the record, though, no tigers were harmed in the making of my home studio. I'm a huge animal guy. I would never have a real tiger. First of all, it's kind of gross in a way to have it on your floor. I don't know, but yeah, fake tiger rug, not a real tiger rug. maybe my office is nice. Maybe it's
That
not.
is
Maybe
true.
you'll
That
find
is
out
such
Friday.
a Kevin take. Like, ew, icky outdoor animal thing. I don't want
Dead
to touch
carcass
that.
on my floor. I'm good. I'm all good on that. But Damon, we do have some Arizona Wildcats news.
Yeah,
and
I
notes to get
mentioned
into
Bryce
today.
James, Kevin.
Yes.
I mean, it's about to be Bryce James Central on the PHNX Sports YouTube channel, so guys, be on the lookout for that. We're going to be just putting out some YouTube shorts and TikToks, Instagram Reels up the wazoo, as much as you could possibly want and desire, because that's what we got going on later today, as Bryce James is going to sit down with local media and talk with them after practice concludes here in the next upcoming minutes. And Kevin, we'll be talking a little bit more about what he said and breaking it down tomorrow. But yeah, really excited to hear what Bryce James has to say and really just talk about just the news and notes surrounding this basketball program right now, which there are actually quite a bit.
Yeah,
despite it being August.
There actually are quite a bit, and this is the kind of stuff you get into when you have such a star-studded team as Arizona basketball has coming into the year. That anticipation builds months earlier than it would otherwise. And you alluded to it with Bryce James. Speaking to media today at 2:30, I believe, is when the official thing starts, not being live streamed. So you might as well just stay right here and talk to us for a little bit while longer. But like I was saying, Bryce James, if he says it, you will hear it via this channel at some point. Stay locked in for all of that. But it wasn't just Bryce James. If you go to our Twitter, we also have a nice little Dwayne Aristo dunk celebrated by Koa Peat and Braden Burries. I don't know if that moves the needle for anybody. Maybe the 3-star freshmen of next year's team, just vibes absolutely immaculate. I don't know how that makes y'all feel. It makes me feel damn great. So, yeah, I'm just happy that sports are rounding the corner back into our lives. Football could not be, well, I guess that's literally not true. I was going to say it couldn't be any closer, but
it's at the doorstep.
Yeah, we're there every second of the day thinking about Arizona football and college football as a whole, as a nation. But then basketball rounds the corner right there, and that's when everything really gets to a fever pitch in Tucson. So I'm excited, Damon, not only for Arizona basketball, not only for Bryce James, what he has to say, what he ate for breakfast this morning, whatever you want to call it. I'm just
how that burrito was on Friday.
Yeah. Was it ham? Was it bacon? Was it Colorado style? I need to know these things. Overall, Damon, could not be more excited for this time of year. The offseason is finally ending, and I know we are both very thankful for that.
Yeah, fired up for football season, as we always say on this show. But do have a little bit more basketball talk for you today. And I think the right place to start this off is just with, kind of the topic of the show, and that's with Cameron Williams, 5-star in-state Arizona product, goes to St. Mary's High School, where Channing Frye went to high school. And he's figures to be that next kind of big time Arizona prospect that the Wildcats are making a run at. And, he now has his official visit date locked in with Arizona.
Yeah, I mean, we've spoken about it on multiple occasions on this specific podcast in relation to other prospects, but now it applies to Cameron Williams, elite in-state prospect. You have to be assuming that this is a priority target, as you see it in the thumbnail today, a priority prospect for Arizona men's basketball. You cannot let these kind of players escape to other programs unless there's some obvious reason as to why you wouldn't want that player. You have to maintain the trend of any in-state elite recruit, understanding that basketball in the state runs through Tucson. And especially elite basketball in the state. You can, if you're not at that elite level, maybe you can run through other places. But the top level runs through Tucson. And if you're Cameron Williams, this is the first real indication that Arizona could potentially be a front runner there. I believe he has other visits scheduled sooner than Arizona. But Arizona's was announced yesterday, I think right before our show tipped off there, Damon, that he was going to schedule that visit for October 17th. Down to Tucson. He also has visits with USC, Duke, Kentucky, and Purdue. Somewhat of a who's who for the current state of college basketball in a way. I mean, I guess you could say that USC is not really in that echelon, but the brand is still huge there, right? So,
and as we've talked about with USC, I mean, first off, Eric Musselman is a really good recruiter.
Chill guy.
He's recruited everywhere he's gone, including like stops at Nevada and. Not that Arkansas is like a necessarily difficult job, but he really, recruited, kind of I would say well above, maybe what the expectation level was there as well. But yes, Arizona does have the latest visit. In fact, Kevin, the first visit will be on September 12th to Purdue. Then it'll be September 26th to Kentucky, October 3rd to Duke, October 11th to USC, and October 17th to Arizona. So I don't know. I kind of love that. I love getting the last impression. I love being kind of the team that gets to make the last ditch pitch. I guess on campus, obviously, you know, I'm sure the coaches are going to give their kind of their last pitch, you know, regardless of on the phone or in person or whatnot. But last official visit, you know, I think that gives Arizona a decent leg up in terms of his recruitment. It stays fresher in your mind. That's a natural human thing, I feel like, where it's just like that you're gonna sit there and be like, oh yeah, that really great visit I had, that was the last one, that was like the best one. That's like I don't know, does that seem crazy?
No, I was actually thinking about it as you were lining up the dates for these visits. I was thinking, would you rather be on the front end, really make an impression to the point where any other visit after just doesn't, you're chasing that dragon, right? Like you and Rhino's name, when you try to pronounce it now, you're just chasing that first visit. You know what I mean? So yeah. I think you could argue either way. I think if you're, you know, the recruiting managers and recruiting directors for these programs, I feel like you probably assume that, well, our pitch is going to be so good that I don't really care what order we get into with these visits. But I could see Arizona really benefiting from being the last stop on his visits there, especially because that is before you really round into your true season, right? November is when Arizona's true season really starts with that Florida game on November 3rd. So you have all of October. He's pretty much coming in right after that red and blue game, 2 weeks after that red and blue game, ahead of that Florida game. And so if you're Arizona, you still have that mystique of the 2025 season to sell to Cameron Williams as well, right? You're not. He's not visiting you after a potential loss to Florida, after a potential, you know, what you could be. They're not going to lose to UCLA. Let's just be honest about that. So you could be looking at
We're not losing to Donovan Dent, bro.
Correct. You could be, in theory, looking at 1-2, 1-3 if they lose to Auburn, but you don't lose at home. We've been over that as well. But my point with all this is I think with the way Arizona's non-conference is lined up, I think it's beneficial to get Cameron Williams in before that happens, before you could potentially not look the best if you're Tommy Lloyd with a crazy tough non-conference, and maybe Purdue just gets out to a super hot start and all that. So I think being on the back end of this, but still being before your tough non-conference, is beneficial to Arizona.
Yeah. I tried to look up if there was a football game that weekend that became the most pivotal football matchup in maybe the history of Brent Brennan's tenure here, but they will be on the road playing Houston on October 18th, I believe. So it's going to be a very basketball heavy centric kind of weekend, I would say. And hopefully, you know, Tommy Lloyd and co can kind of get the job done there, because I feel like that is perhaps the most realistic big target in the next class. Not to say that Arizona won't be putting together an elite class, because I think that there's probably about a handful of, you know, high 4 stars to 5 stars that Arizona has a real chance at landing. But I just think Cameron Williams might be that kind of that highest ranked individual that you know is a real top level target for this team. And as I've said, you know, like that's a NBA power forward. He's 6'11" already, and that's, I feel like that, you know, that's crazy size for a collegiate power forward in particular. He moves really well. This would be an absolutely massive pull for the Arizona Wildcats, and he has the same overall ranking as Koa Peat, essentially. Like that's the caliber of player that we're talking about here. And as we already noted, like Phoenix area guy, could be another on a long list of kind of the elite Phoenix prospects that make their way down to Tucson and play for the Wildcats. But Michael asks the question, you know, from a high school standpoint, is Arizona a top 5 pipeline in the country? In the past I would say no. In these next upcoming classes, I think you'd have to say yes, right, Kevin? Especially this 2026 class. I mean, the Arizona kind of pipeline there is unbelievable.
Yeah, I'm looking at the current class right now of 2026, and obviously California is there, but I think
there's 8 players in the top 42 from Arizona.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to get at. I feel like if you're Arizona, is kind of underrated, maybe the second best pipeline for 2026, you could argue, outside of California, which is, to be frank, I think just like more of a volume thing than anything, right? It's just like you have such a big state there, so many big power high school programs out there that you just kind of a lot of transfers into the state for that exact reason. So I really do feel like Arizona has one of the best pipelines right now in all of high school basketball. I think it has to be viewed that way. I mean, outside of Branson, Missouri, You know what I mean? Shout out to Link Academy, I guess. But yeah, I truly do think that Michael is on something here. Arizona being one of the best pipelines in the country right now, and to Damon's point, historically, I don't think so. I don't think you could really make the argument that Arizona is one of the top 5 pipelines in the country overall over the course of the history of college basketball.
Yeah, I think football actually probably is kind of a level higher than basketball, I'd say, in terms of talent. But that feels like that's possibly changed as of recently. And I'm not saying that like basketball is all of a sudden better than football. I'm just saying that now basketball is kind of on that elite status level as well.
Yeah, and you know, like I was kind of getting at, not historically like a top 5, but if you're doing like a power rankings or whatnot, I feel like Arizona's got to be one of the biggest climbers of the last half decade, right? And Max
For sure.
says it.
I mean, that's the nature of just the population of the state. Even 20 years ago, it wasn't close to what it is now, and you know, that's because families are starting to settle down here, and it became a place to kind of raise children. And I feel like now we're starting to see the fruits of that labor kind of being, you know, shown out at Section 7 and on the high school football fields on Friday nights. And like it really is pretty interesting to see. It's a very booming kind of family culture here in Arizona. But just looking at this Arizona class, I mean, you have Cameron Williams, who's number 1 recruit in the state in the updated rankings. Mika Murin, did I say that? Muranin?
Did you say it right? I don't know. If I were to take a swing at it, I would say Mika
Muranin.
Yeah, I think you're right. Muranin.
Yeah,
I don't think there's other way to say that.
If we got that incorrect.
Yeah, I don't know.
He plays at Compass Prep. Akenna Alozie, who's a big-time Arizona target. Arizona probably the favorite there. Cam Holmes, similar situation. Akenna Alozie, Cam Holmes, both top 25 prospects. Then Miles Sadler at my personal favorite, Bella Vista Prep. Number 34 overall player in the country. 5'10" point guard at that 34 ranking. Pretty cool. And then Caden House, who I'm assuming is Eddie House's kin in some way, shape, or form. I don't know that to be a fact, but I would find that father is Eddie House. Twin brother Kalik House is also a 4-star prospect in the class. They both go to Compass Prep.
And the next guy on this list, Damon, full stop. Vaughn Carvalho. Please, everyone.
Also a Bella Vista Prep legend.
Look up this man's look up this young prospect's hair. This is incredible, like locks that he got on his head.
Damn, and if he goes to Alabama, he's gonna be nice. I know he will.
Facts.
Nate Oates doesn't like. You're gonna look good in that system.
Yes.
You're gonna take 100 threes. This guy clearly can stroke it. Like they don't offer. He's not getting an offer unless he can shoot threes at a high level.
Yeah.
I'm speaking with zero knowledge on Vaughn Carvalho's game. That is full assumption, Kevin, and I know I'm right.
Yeah, you're not a Carvalho. All right, moving on.
He's a big, nearly 6'7" wing with a pretty shooting stroke from downtown. That's the first sentence about Carvalho as a prospect.
Welcome to Nate Oates ball. Shout out to Erica Day in the chat, who is literally live from practice at Arizona practice right now, getting us clips of Bryce James getting buckets. You know, just absolutely making guys look silly on the scout team out there. And then you also have, you know, that dunk that we talked about earlier from Dwayne Aristode. So, and then also Michael here in the chat says safest locks I've ever heard, Damon. So I think you're onto something with Carvalho's game, even if you might not be a Carvalho aficionado.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you envision Arizona being the favorite here? I know that, you know, it's not like we have any inside information when we're talking, but it is kind of as you mentioned, a who's who of college basketball teams right now. It's a very, very competitive group from a program standpoint. I think, you know, even like Kentucky, who necessarily hasn't been Kentucky recently, like Mark Pope does seem to be recruiting well and kind of building momentum there. So I could see how going into year 3, how Cameron Williams would maybe want to be like the prize prospect or one of the 2 prize prospects of Mark Pope's class. I mean, how do you feel about Arizona's odds here? Do you feel good just in the sense that this is an in-state guy and Arizona tends to do well with in-state guys?
You know, it's still really early. We actually, like, if you're looking up stuff on Cam Williams' recruitment, there really isn't much out there information wise on like where he stands with some of these schools. Is there a lean? Does he have any motivations that are going to, change the way he views his recruitment? That we don't have that information. So I do want to preface it by saying that this is literally pure speculation. I don't know who should be labeled the front runner right now. I would say that I think Arizona should be the front runner, and unironically, I think it's an allusion to what I'm going to allude to what Max said here in the comments when he said, need to make Dalen Terry the recruiting director, which, one, duh. But two, I genuinely feel like Koa Peat being on this year's basketball team, not like 3 years removed, not, whatever, a veteran in the league now, actively on a team that Cameron Williams will go visit to see, I think that could be huge, considering that, as you alluded to, they are ranked the same. Cameron Williams, you could, in a very broad sense, say is the Koa Peat of this year's class in a way for Arizona, right? In that high 5-star elite #1 in-state recruit. I feel like that's going to help a ton. You have a lot of elite in-state guys that have recently stayed at Arizona. That could really help Tommy Lloyd and Murph secure this recruitment. But like Dick Wilson says here in the chat, I have a different math for getting there, but it's certainly a part of it. He says, I think he'll end up at Duke. Unlimited NIL and rev share. Money really talks. And Dick Wilson is correct. Money does talk, and rev share and NIL is going to be tough to battle out with when you're talking about Kentucky and Duke and even USC as well, because as Damon has alluded to multiple times, USC might not have 10 guys that they're paying a ton of money to, but they're willing to go all in on one. You know what I mean? So I think when you're talking about Duke, Kentucky, Purdue, who has been one of the most stable programs in the last half decade in all of college basketball, Matt Painter, I wouldn't say under the radar because he gets a lot of praise, but I think in terms of what he's actually been able to build at Purdue, I do think he deserves a bit more praise for bringing in the players he's been able to bring in.
Elite programs recently, Purdue is probably the most underrated of them.
Yeah, and I think that is a team that I'd be worried about in this recruitment as well, but not like to the point where I don't think that he would choose Arizona over Purdue. But I'm saying you're going up against a bunch of heavy hitters here. I think Arizona should be the front runner right now. I think they stand a great chance to, maybe not convince, but prove to Cameron Williams that they are the best option for him based on Koa Peat, Dalen Terry. Max is saying that this is going to be a chain reaction of Dalen Terry to Koa Peat to Bruce Branch as well. Come on down. Bring them all.
Bring me.
Feed me. So, yeah, I do think that Arizona should be the front runner right now. I think that your main worries would be Duke, maybe Kentucky. But honestly, I would say Duke or Purdue are your two main worries, especially because when you look at what Purdue has exiting their roster this upcoming year, they're going to need that influx of elite talent as well.
Fair.
So they might go hard at a guy like Cameron Williams, as where Duke is also in on Murinen, who we mentioned earlier in relation to the pronunciation of his name. They are in on both of those Arizona recruits, and I'd be really worried if they were able to pull off the coup and the robbery of Arizona's
They could, though.
top talent and just get them both. That'd be horrendous for the state of Arizona.
There's a very small short list of programs that can absolutely over-recruit. And I mean, I think in football you see it too, to an extent, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Alabama's backups are probably a lot more talented than a lot of Arizona's starters.
They'd be a star. Most of the Alabama backups be a star.
So, I think you could see an element of that at a school like Duke, right? Where they over-recruit and recruits sign up for it because they all think that they're going to be the guy who gets the limelight at Duke. I think Cameron Williams will really get a good run anywhere. He's that good. But, that was the list of schools is definitely somewhat intimidating, I will say. I do think that from the article that we looked at, was it on Friday's show, Kevin? Last week.
From On 3?
Yeah,
I believe so.
Kind of the predictions that said that they kind of were they said it was very open and early, but that Cameron Williams, that they thought Arizona was the front runner. From that to Arizona typically doing well with Arizona recruits, to having the last visit, to your point about Koa Peat being a good comparison for Cameron Williams himself, to see him maybe what he could look like at Arizona. Like, I just feel like it all kind of just leads to him going to Arizona, and maybe that's just wishful thinking, but I really do think that the in-state thing means something to these basketball players, or else you wouldn't see them consistently coming to Arizona, right? And it's pretty often that the best basketball players in the state end up at Arizona. So it's not like they're like it's football where the best football players are going to Oklahoma and Oregon and USC and their pick of schools across the entire country, right? Basketball, it tends to be the guys stay home. They go to Tucson. So hopefully that trend continues. And I don't know. I think you got to feel about as good as you could for an elite prospect of his caliber right now.
One thing when we're talking about the teams that Arizona might be recruiting against to potentially get the services of Cameron Williams, one thing that does worry me with the Koa Peat comparison, Koa Peat really, not that he didn't deserve it, because he's probably one of the best prospects you've seen come out of high school in I don't know how long. I'm not talking about from like a Zion level of hype, but I'm talking about from winning, from accolades, from actual achievement in high school ranks. I feel like Koa Peat is one of the most decorated you could possibly have. Yeah. He owned, like his top 5, if you go to 24/7 Sports, was Arizona, Baylor, Arkansas, Arizona State, and Houston. Outside of Houston, and I guess you can maybe make an argument for Arkansas potentially. Outside
was Arkansas in that?
I don't think so. But that's what 24/7 Sports is telling me.
Baylor, Houston, Texas, Arizona State, and U of A.
Regardless, my feeling still stands if you sub Texas out for Arkansas there. There really wasn't that top-notch, outside of Houston, there really wasn't that top-notch level competition for the recruitment there. And it, for me, gave me additional confidence of, well, I think I said this on the show at one point. If he doesn't pick Arizona, it kind of shows you, again, if he doesn't pick Arizona or Houston, I should say, it kind of shows you like where his motivations are in terms of winning. Now, obviously, that was not a problem because he chose Arizona, and I would assume maybe Houston would have been the other option there. But we know Koa Peat's a winner. That's not my point. My point is, though, when you're talking about the recruitment of Cameron Williams, there's a lot more heavy hitters that you're going up against than you did when you had to recruit Koa Peat. It's a lot less of a layup than I think the Koa Peat one was, simply because, I mean, while those elite teams were probably looking at Koa Peat, it doesn't seem like they were chasing him as hard as maybe the elite teams are going to be chasing Cameron Williams. And that's likely also because maybe they assumed Koa Peat was just more willing to stay at Arizona, and that was not resources they're willing to pour in. And I think maybe when you look at the resources that other programs are starting to pour into Cameron Williams, maybe you could see, okay, this is a high priority prospect for not just Arizona, but for Duke, for some of these other elite programs, Kentucky, Purdue, right? So that is something that kind of worries me. I don't think at this stage I'm like shaking in my boots about it, but it is something to keep an eye on. Like, what are the resources that these schools are going to keep pouring into Cam Williams as we go forward?
I think that there's an element of that could be because of the Peat posse and just kind of, we've referenced how many people have gone to Koa Peat's high school games. Like, I feel like Koa Peat wanted to clearly stay close to home. So that's why ASU was considered even, for a second, despite him being one of the top high school recruits in the country and not much going on in Tempe from a basketball sense.
Ever, really.
Yeah, good point. I didn't think about it like that. But even the Texas schools, like his family could, with the money he was going to make, it's not horrible travel. It's like probably like a 4-hour flight to Austin or something like that, 4.5 to Houston. So, I don't think it's, I could see, that being a factor for Koa Peat in particular. Cameron Williams, it seems like maybe that's not necessarily his motivation. Looking at the other schools, right? I mean, it's not like he picked a bunch of West Coast schools. He has USC in there, but as we talked about, they got some coin.
It seems like a prospect that, and this is like a total alternate universe, so I'm not really even, I'm just saying that this might be more his mindset. He might just be geared toward elite bag, elite program. Like, how can I get to a high-level bag, but also give myself a chance to win? So I think if Arizona wasn't an elite-level program, they would not even be considered by Cameron Williams. And I'm not saying that.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Here's where I'll push back a little bit, and this was where my point was going, is I do think that Arizona can sell being the elite program that also is close to home.
Yes.
And that's where, with Koa Peat, like, it always felt like he wanted to be in Arizona, right? Like, a little bit.
As close as possible.
It always felt like, to me at least, it was ASU or U of A for Koa Peat the whole way. And so, that element of it made me think and have a slight fear of, like, what if he goes to ASU? You know what I mean?
Eric Ruby's making a lot of proclamations.
Cameron Williams, he has one school that's in his, home state in his top 5. I think that you can totally go, toe-to-toe with, not that Arizona is Duke, but you can go toe-to-toe with that program about as well as most programs can these days, especially in the 21st century, especially when it comes to producing pro prospects. Arizona's, top 4 in that regard or whatever it is, along with Duke and Kentucky, and Arizona, I think, is the top 3 actually. So yeah, I mean, you can sell a lot in terms of comparison with those, but you can also sell being that closer location to your family and your family getting to watch you play and following in the footsteps of a Arizona legend like a Channing Frye and whatnot. So that's where I do think that, even though maybe that's not his priority, you can still use that as a big recruiting aspect. And I don't think that kind of nullifies that point of it. I do think that still helps Arizona and gives us a leg up over those other schools in the long run.
If Cameron Williams is doubting the potential benefits of staying in state as an elite Arizona recruit, I'm going to pull the stud buds. They always say call President Caitlin Clark. I say call recruiting President Dalen Terry and have him give the breakdown. I know Max referenced it earlier, but if there's any doubt as to benefits of a potential Arizona in, a staycation, if you will, shout out to Gila River, I think you call up Dalen Terry and he gets that final say in there, Damon. But I'll wrap up what I'm saying about Cameron Williams on this note. Like, I really feel like as an elite level recruit, you're obviously going to be going up against elite level programs from time to time. Obviously, Koa Peat's motivations were slightly different. He was more, it seems like, more geared towards staying as close as possible to home while still trying to give himself a chance to win. It feels like Cameron Williams, based on his list of teams that he's scheduled to visit for, is really geared towards playing at a premier stage at college basketball and getting paid a high amount to do it. And I think that Arizona, yes, and this is all that Damon I'm totally agreeing with your point here. Arizona can sell him on being that elite program, and they're the only program that can give the double benefit of having alumni that can say, hey, you're staying home. This is how amazing it can be to become a hometown hero in a way at the University of Arizona and be immortalized in the state as well. So overall, feeling very encouraged about Arizona's chances for 5-star Cameron Williams today. Hopefully that maintains the case throughout his recruitment, because they're going up against some heavy hitters, as I already said.
Yeah, and real quick before we got to break here, I did want to mention Max up in the chat said that Cam Holmes went to his high school. I've actually been out at Millennium High School before to watch some baseball games out there. You live in Eastern California, brother. That is insanely far. But Kevin, I implore you to look this up online. Millennium High School looks like it's insane. Like, it's like all glass looking walls. It's crazy, man. It looks like they completely redid the whole high school. So damn. I don't know if Max got to experience it or not, but kind of a fun little nugget there from our guy Max. Like this video if you haven't done so already. We really appreciate everybody for being here in the chat and subscribing to the channel as well. Kevin, we're gonna, on the other side of this break, we're gonna talk about kind of who has the best trios in the college basketball landscape, and was Arizona omitted from a list of a popular national publication that tends to omit Arizona from a lot of these lists. We'll find out right after the break here on the AZ Wildcats pod.
You saw it on our socials. We are speeding through our reads of the Phoenix Raceway, and it's not because we don't want to talk about it. It's because that NASCAR energy has us just ready to race around the office. Noah and Ayrton are talking about putting a track in HQ3. The NASCAR is on the mind of everybody here at PHNX. You're wearing the shirt. I went out and got a shirt because I discovered that this is the last chance potentially for a while to see the Phoenix Raceway, NASCAR come to the Phoenix Raceway, because they're taking it on the road, Damon, for the next couple of years. So you don't know when your next chance to see him is going to be. The vibes out there are just absolutely immaculate. You've never seen nothing like a NASCAR crowd. Let me tell you that much. And if you've been in Phoenix long enough, you know that we've seen it all when it comes to the biggest sporting events. World Series, WNBA Finals, NBA Finals, RIP, multiple All-Star games. But the Phoenix Raceway is bringing it. You've never experienced anything like it in your life until you've been to one of these NASCAR Championship Weekend events at the Phoenix Raceway. And like I said, don't miss out on your chance to win this NASCAR Championship Weekend in person. Coming to Phoenix Raceway October 31st through November 2nd. Tickets for Sunday's Championship Series go on sale, and they always sell out every year. So move fast to get yours now before they're gone. And like I said, they're taking this joint on the road. They're taking the championship weekend out of Phoenix starting in 2026. So this is your last chance to catch it in Phoenix for a while. Don't miss out. Tickets and hospitality are still available. Upgrade yours now at the link in our show notes below. Vroom, vroom.
Vroom, vroom, indeed. Another sponsor that we want to tell you about today is our friends over at Game Time. If you have not downloaded the Game Time app and created an account yet, you are really missing out, guys, because Game Time has taken over the ticketing world for, I don't know, the better part of like the last, I want to say like 5, 6, 7 years here, Kevin, really, when Game Time started bursting onto the scene. And the reason they took over the ticketing world is just because they do it better than everybody else. They show you exactly where your seat's going to be before you buy the tickets, so you don't have some sort of obstructed view situation. You know what you're getting into. They put the fees right up front in front of your face, so it's not like you're getting to the checkout and all of a sudden the tickets are $120 more expensive than you anticipated them being. And of course, they have their great promo code of PHNX, where you can get $20 off your first purchase on gametime.co. That is promo code PHNX. It'll get you $20 off your first purchase on gametime.co, or download the app. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code PHNX for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Maybe buy yourself some of those NASCAR tickets with Game Time, some Diamondbacks tickets, getting cheaper by the day. You could use that Game Time code, and all of a sudden
You can make money. They're paying you
100%,
to go to the game.
100%. Beautiful deal.
Oh, man. Michael here in the chat says, just saw one of your tweets, Kevo. Thanks for the follow. Deli looks like he could eat last year's version of himself. This man looks beefy, and he's digging the beard. The beard was a crazy thing I did not expect to see. ADO looks like he is, I mean this in a good way, like he's just been in the lab. Like he's not, kind of like me. He just hasn't got a haircut in a while. Just been in the lab. It's the off season.
The woodsman.
Yeah, it's the off season, brother. You're putting in the work, trying to get ready for the season. You're not worried about a lineup. You know what I mean?
That did look like Anthony Del Orso worked on that beard for about
months,
3 months, and that's what he came up with. That's what his genes gave him.
Yeah, and the hair is getting a little long as well on ADO. Overall, the man just looks bulky, must I say, Damon. The 20 pounds of muscle does show. I'm excited for bearded ADO. Does that do anything for you, or do you want him to get rid of it? I don't know. Could it enhance his powers?
The bearded dragon.
The bearded kangaroo.
We'll keep workshopping on all of those.
Yeah.
But ADO definitely put some weight on. If he can hang with the physicality of the Big 12 a little bit, that could be big time for him in terms of just allowing him to stay on the floor a little bit more defensively, especially if he's hitting his shots and Tommy wants that spacing out there. Obviously that's the type of guy you can kind of play off the floor if you're a really good team that can exploit their matchups and has a lot of athletic two-way players. Like, so Houston, Texas Tech, those type of teams, they will target him on switches constantly until he's off the floor. If he can just get a little bit stronger and maybe a little bit faster laterally, I don't know exactly what they've been working on, but I think that could be huge for his playing time in 2025, 2026.
I, for one, I've been on this boat all off season.
You have.
And I will continue to be on this boat. And I think at this point,
will also say you have somehow found a way. And I keep bringing up the conversation of like who's going to start at the 3 because I think it's the most interesting starting lineup. You, sir, have found a way to put coin into all of the hats of all 3 of them. So if any of the 3 end up being significantly better than the others, you could be like, and listen, man, I was telling you guys, Ivan Karchenkov is the truth, man. That dude has an NBA body. I've been saying it all off season.
He's one of them ones. Shout out to Braden Burries.
Every single one of the guys, you're like, I love this dude, man. Let me tell you about Dwayne Aristode.
To be fair, though, I think that you are right. You are right. But I think in my defense, there's a reason I'm able to do that. And it's because all the players at the small forward position have a stake in the starting role. They have a claim to it, right? And I think that each person's argument is good. So I think what I was going to say, and you are right about that, but what I was going to say is I'm big. I don't know how many people are on the boat with me, but I'm big on this boat of Anthony Del Orso in 2025 being dramatically better than Anthony Del Orso in 2024. I believe in 2025 Anthony Del Orso. I was adamant that I did not believe in 2024 Anthony Del Orso. You go back and check the tapes. I was actually begging for someone to pull him off the floor in March Madness. I was tired of seeing him out there during March Madness. I was not happy with the defensive effort that was being put forth. However, the muscle gained in the offseason, another year in Tommy Lloyd's system, the coaching he's going to be able to receive, the increased depth of his own position, I think is going to help him be played during moments where he's supposed to be played. I think there were some times last year where he was forced to be out there in moments where you really don't want ADO out there, but he's got to be out there for some reason, right? So I think that ADO in 2025. I'm excited about the bulk. I'm excited about the beard. I think the as long as the efficiency maintains or improves, I think we could be talking about him being a true contributor for next year's team and a player that really helps them get over the hump in March Madness. I think you need that shooting, you need the spacing, but you also can't have him being a defensive liability. So if the muscle he's put on can help him accomplish that goal, we're talking about a transformed version of Anthony D'Alorso. Now, whether that is a version that is good enough to start in 2025 over the likes of Dwayne Aristote and Ivan Karchenkov, yet to be seen. But regardless, I'm very excited about his potential contribution in 2025, whether it's off the bench or off the tip.
Yeah, it definitely, could be interesting. Just kind of adding that extra chess piece for Tommy Lloyd and just giving him more to work with, right? Because it feels like at least this is the deepest team I feel like that Tommy's had in his tenure at Arizona. It feels like that this team has so many options, and even if certain players don't necessarily work out the way you need them to, you can try other options and really try other workarounds and have more things to play with. But Kevin, Field of 68 constantly plays with the hearts of Arizona fans, and we're tired of it.
In fact, I think it's worse. They act like we don't exist.
It's true. That's true. I will say, in terms of this graphic, that was just a professional transition. No big deal. Professional podcast. But this, I don't know that Arizona necessarily belongs on this list, but Field of 68 released a top trios in college basketball, and they went with Purdue, Houston, Florida, and Kentucky. Purdue at the top there, Braden Smith, Fletcher Lawyer, and Taylor Kaufman-Renn, TKR, Kevin's favorite player in college basketball. And then Houston has Milos Uzan, Emmanuel Sharp, and Joseph Tugler. All three players we're very familiar with. Florida with Xavier Lee, Boogie Fland, and Alex Condon, which is...
We'll get to it. We'll get to it.
And then I almost forgot this guy's name for a second. Kentucky with Jalen Lowe, and that's a D. Jalen with a D at the end of it. Owe and Jaden Quaintance. So
isn't that Otega Owe?
Yeah, I think so. But yeah. I didn't want.
No, you're good.
I started thinking of Owe, the football player.
Yeah.
Who plays for the Ravens, and I was like, I don't want to say his name when that's not his name. Yeah, it's Otega. Yeah. So yeah, I mean that's the four trios that they gave us. To be fair, they didn't necessarily say these are the four best trios in college basketball, rank them. It just was giving you four teams and letting you speak. But naturally, I think that, especially when you see Purdue at the top, which in my opinion, for my money, is best or second best out of the trios in all of college basketball. It makes people think that it's, for sure, like you're trying to compare the best to the best. And I'll be honest, man, those SEC ones did not do anything for me. I think Houston and Purdue both belong on here. I think, like I said, Purdue's list is, I think Braden Smith, I said this to you off air. I think maybe it's a crazy take. I think he's the best player in college basketball, just in terms of I think you could kind of plop him on any team, and he's raising the floor of that team so significantly at the collegiate basketball level just because of his passing ability. I mean, he's like an 8 assist a game, 9 assist a game guy in college. It's unbelievable to watch. And then Fletcher Lawyer's a really good player. Taylor Kaufman-Renn averaged 20 last year, despite Kevin's hatred for him.
For the record, I don't hate him. I just think that his game, while very good,
he beats up on bum Big Ten teams and big oafs in that lousy conference.
And to his credit, the man's got an incredible post game. He has very good, very reliable post moves, and he's skilled down low. But he's not extremely multidimensional. He can pass out of the post. I'm not trying to take that away from him. He's a good passer out of the post. He's got good post moves. But if you watch his highlights, it's just turnaround, layups and dunks off of dudes that can't really defend him anyway. And I was saying this off air to you, Damon. I'll say it on air now. If Arizona has to play Purdue, I'm confident that Toby Awaka and Koa Peat, should I say the exact thing I said? I'm going to say the exact thing I said. Could put Trey Kaufman-Renn in a locker if they wanted to. Shout out to the HQ3 that we're about to have. They could put him and his big self into the lockers that we got. So I don't know.
I will say, I think he's more of a power forward, and they do have
true power forward.
They do have some other bigs this year. Purdue does, where he won't have to necessarily play that small ball 5 as much, even though I think he can do it. But It's probably not ideal, especially if you're going up against like a Tobe Awaka in the tournament, right?
Correct.
Hypothetically.
Yeah. I don't think Trey Coughlin-Wren is bad. I just think he's slightly overrated, and his skill set doesn't really do much for me, even though there's a lot of talent there. So that's just me clarifying my take on that. But
yeah.
in terms,
but Braden Smith averaged 16, 4.5, and 9 last year. I mean, the guy's unbelievable. Purdue's going to be unreal. Houston, they belong there. They obviously lose LJ Cryer. They lose Edwards. 2 starters on their team, but they bring back 3 starters, and that's the 3 starters that were in the national championship game last year. Should have probably been national champions if they didn't choke it away at the end. And I completely understand why these 3 players are on here. I know Joseph Tugler won't jump off the page at you and really make you think like, well, I mean, he might he might commit assault.
I was going to say he might literally jump at you if you're already on the rim, but he might not jump off the page
because of his reputation as a hard-nosed defender. But he is a defensive star, and that's why he gets that plaudit from the officiating, and he's allowed to get away with a little bit extra. But he's not necessarily that big offensive star. He's a great defensive player. Emmanuel Sharp, one of the best shooters in college basketball, and Milos Uzan, does it every time he plays Arizona. Just hits every tough shot ever, and it's disgusting to watch, but he's a great player. So those 2 teams I have no problem with. It's the SEC schools, as I said, Kevin. Like, what are we talking about here? I'll let you talk about the next 2.
I'm a huge Xavier Lee guy. I actually, I've been watching Princeton because of him for a minute, and I think that he is so talented, and he's so much fun to watch, and he can do so much up there. He also has no business being on this graphic.
Can he defend, Kevin?
We're about to find out, Damon. We're about to find out. Michael here says in the chat, right? And this is more so what I'm getting at. Got to put Duke in the top 3 with the Boozer twins, and you can just pick whoever else you want from the team. And that's kind of where I'm at. We're like, where is Texas Tech? Where is BYU? Where is Arizona with these 3 absolute behemoths? Bang! Give me all of this. Are you serious? These 3 absolute beasts. Let me see it one more time. Bang! And then, get used to seeing these 3 a whole hell of a lot in 2025, Damon. And as we get back to the top 3 trios, there are certain trios out there that preseason just deserve to be on this list more than Kentucky's, more than Florida's. You can argue back and forth whether you think and if you get 2 in there, then you can argue back and forth whether or not Houston's belongs there, if Emmanuel Sharp is good enough and whatever. But they do have a claim to be on that graphic. The Florida, with 2 transfers and a guy that was good, but doesn't really jump off the page at you either. That doesn't do anything for me. Kentucky, let me see it one more time. 2 transfers as well. One of them being Jaden Quaintance.
Huh?
Are we doing a defensive trio?
Let's play a game. Let's play a fun game. How many points per game did Jaden Quaintance score last year?
4.8.
Ooh, I mean, well, that's low, but it was single digits. Was it
8.9?
It was 9 something.
9,
I mean, it's not that much.
It's not.
From a 5-star center,
elite defender. You could say elite rim protector.
Elite rim protector.
Yeah,
elite defender is a far stretch. I think that's a guy that he's going to be on NBA scouts' minds constantly because he has intangibles and length and athleticism and shot blocking ability that you just don't find everywhere. But he doesn't have the full package on defense. He's not Bam Adebayo switching out on screens on people and whatnot at this point.
He's a high ceiling prospect who you're going to have to develop into that high ceiling.
Yeah.
Right? If he was at that ceiling now, he deserves to be on, he deserves to elevate a team there. And
Michael is right. I tweeted it. BYU is the one that I think gets most screwed here. How do you have AJ DeBanstu who's going to be the number 1 pick in the draft? Even though I will, Darren Peterson is the favorite to be the number 1 pick in the draft as of right now. So
I haven't been keeping tabs on that now. Hold on.
Get your AJ DeBanstu future bets in on number 1 overall pick right now. But that being said, they got, in my opinion, the future number 1 overall pick. They have Richie Saunders, who was a star at BYU last season on a team that was ranked.
He was awesome.
Made the Sweet 16.
Yeah.
Was their best offensive player all year.
He sucked to play against.
Yeah, he did. And then they have Rob Wright, who was one of the 5 best freshmen in the Big 12 last year. All freshman team. Baylor didn't want to lose him, making 7 figures at BYU.
Big numbies.
That trio, for my money, is the best in the country.
You got the number 1 high school player, the number 1 recruit, No, you're good. You got the number one. I was underlining your point. You have the number one high school player coming in, a $7 million man. You have arguably the number one recruit in the country coming in, a couple $1 million man himself, and you have one of your best players in your roster returning for another year. I don't know how that doesn't get you on the list. I mean, like if we're talking like hype, the number one overall player in the nation who's worth $7 million, AJ DeBansa, does it get any more hype than that? You know what I mean? So I feel like unless Xavier Lee moves the needle in a way that I did not know prior to this live stream today, I feel like BYU definitely is the most left off on this list.
Well, and then let's talk about it quickly from an Arizona perspective
Yes.
before we get into our final break here, Kevin. I mean, like for me, I mean, I know you're a big Xavier Lee guy, and you've obviously said that multiple times already. But you know, Xavier Lee, he's giving you 16 at Princeton, and the defense is, you know, I'm not saying that it's necessarily going to be bad, but it's suspect, right? As he moves from the Ivy League to the SEC.
Sorry, Evan Nelson.
You suspect. But Jaden Bradley, I will say for our example, for our sake, 12 points per game, 3.5 and 3.5 on better shooting splits, and is an elite defender at the point guard position. I mean, he does it in the Big 12, which is the premier conference, versus the Ivy League, doing 4 less points per game. Like, to me, that's probably a better basketball player.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if I was to fully give you, you know, their defense included and whatnot, obviously Koa Peat is who he is, and then Braden Burries, I think, is, you know, has a pretty high floor as a volume scorer. So I don't know. I think Arizona is every bit as good as the final two teams on this list. I don't know if I'd take them over Purdue or Houston. I don't think I would take them over BYU, but I do think Arizona has a shout to be, you know, kind of in and around this like 4, 5, 6 range of best trios, Kevin.
My question to you is, who is officially Arizona's trio that they're sending into this theoretical battle, right? Because I think
who would you go with?
I think you could cut it up a couple different ways, right?
I think I would go with obviously the way that I just said, which
Yeah.
is Jaden Bradley, Braden Burries, Koa Peat.
And I think that us being able to have a conversation though about it kind of shows maybe why Arizona isn't on this list, because you don't have like a defined, like, these are the top 3 players in Arizona.
Yeah,
Because I think you have Koa Peat.
Bodes well.
You could say Tobe Awaka,
You could.
and then Jaden Bradley. You could say Koa Peat, Braden Burries, Jaden Bradley. You could say these guys if you wanted to as well, right? So I really do feel like Arizona maybe gets left off this list because you don't have cemented roles as to who's your top 3 dogs.
You're so deep. Like,
You're hella
imagine a
deep.
world where Tobe Awaka and or Mo Krivas are singled up at their position, where they're
Yep.
not splitting 20 minutes a game. What their statistics could look like. If Henry Vasar had stayed, like, I would say that he has a shout to be on this
Certainly.
top 3 after the season that he had last year. So, like, yeah, you're right. There's a lot of kind of question marks. I don't necessarily know if I want to call them question marks. It's more just like it's kind of up in the air who's gonna like take the bulk share of the usage and whatnot, because Arizona has just so many avenues they can hit you with. Koa Peat, obviously. I think we all think Koa Peat's going to be the best player on next year's team.
Sharpie
Jaden
that guy
Bradley,
into the 3.
Jaden Bradley, I would say, has to be, just because I think, for my money, most consistent player last year. I think he's going to show you the same consistency, if not get just a little bit better this season, and that puts him on the list. And then I could really go a lot of ways for that third one. Like you said, Tobe Walker is like the best rebounder in the damn country.
Yeah.
He's a big deserving shout to be on that list.
Yeah, 1,000%. I think of Texas Tech as well, like with JT Toppin, Christian Anderson, and then pick a guy, right?
Yeah.
Like
LaJuan Watts was the one that people were saying a lot.
Yeah, that's a great trio.
Yeah,
right there.
I think Texas Tech has a decent shout to be on there as well. I know that they love the SEC, man, but like, can we not?
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to bring that SEC bias over to basketball.
Can we not?
It just doesn't work the same. You can't do the football thing with the basketball stuff. You can't.
4 Big 12 teams on that graphic.
There should be. Yeah, there should be 4. And you could argue like 3 and Purdue, right? Or like 3 and Duke. Or 2, right? 2 Big 12, a Purdue and a Duke. Because I think 2 Boozer twins and whoever you want to pick from Duke, like Michael said in the chat.
Am I wrong, or is the other Boozer twin the worst one? He's not as good.
Probably. I mean, I don't know. One of them's got to be not as good, right?
Yeah. No, I mean, hypothetically, yes. I mean, you look at like I'm not saying that all twins are the same, but you look at like the Thompson twins, for example, and they look to be kind of similar caliber players, you know. I think it makes it a little bit difficult here, but to truly judge twins, right? But I could be wrong. Cameron Boozer's number 3 and Caden Boozer's number 23. So it's not like it's not like Caden Boozer's not a good elite level recruit, but he's not Cameron Boozer, who's like Koa Peat, Darren Peterson, AJ DeBansta level recruit, you know?
Certainly. And, you know, I want to wrap up this trio conversation after our last break here on the AZ Wildcats podcast. And also I want to end the show potentially teasing some stuff about Bryce James, maybe picking Damon's brain on what he hopes to hear from Bryce James after this break here on the AZ Wildcats podcast. It is ad break time, and that means it is time to talk about our friends over at Circle K, ladies and gentlemen. America's thirst stop, the best gas station here in the Freedom State. Kobe said it yesterday in our chat. Like, the best part about being a part of the Inner Circle is you get 25 cents off on your first 5 fill-ups, 3 cents on every fill-up after that, and then 5 cents off when you graduate into that upper tier of the Inner Circle. But when you combine that with their sporadic, somewhat random deals that they throw out there for Circle K fuel days, you can save up to 50 cents off per gallon some days going to Circle K. You can't say that about pretty much any other gas station in the world. Nonetheless, the Freedom State of Arizona. So make sure to check out all the deals that our Inner Circle members at Circle K can use, such as a 79-cent Polar Pop, $1 cookies, and if you visit 4 times, you get 25 cents off per gallon. What, does it get any better than that? Join the Inner Circle for free today by downloading the Circle K app. You can do it literally at the pump. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for more details.
It's all downhill every day. I make a stop at Circle K about once a day. It's all downhill after my Circle K stop.
Yeah,
after I finish my beverage that I bought at Circle K, and then I go, damn.
Until tomorrow,
my Red Bull's gone.
Until tomorrow,
I got on my Inner Circle deal, 3 for $8. Unbelievable savings.
Unbelievable stuff.
And another place you're gonna have to hit up is Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Kevin, you mentioned a staycation earlier in the show. And is there any other place to staycation in the Valley, in the state of Arizona, than Gila River Resorts and Casinos?
No.
They got 4 Valley locations, 4 different casinos. We, of course, love the Wild Horse Pass location. Kevin, you're out near Vikiva these days.
Correctamundo.
And me and you are going to have to make a stop over there. Check it out. Check out the sports book that they got going on at Vikiva. I know that the sports book at Wild Horse Pass is the largest sports book in the great state of Arizona. So you're gonna have to go check that guy out. And of course, we got all of our PHNX Cardinals watch parties on the horizon. If you're a big Cardinals football fan, there's no better place to watch those games than at Gila River Resorts and Casinos Wild Horse Pass with the crew. We got our fantasy football draft we're gonna have going on there in 2 weeks that we're really fired up about. And Kevin, they're recording the Straight Game podcast on August 16th later this week.
I'll be there.
You will be there. It is NBA legends, Mike Bibby, Eddie House, couple on both sides of the aisle of the Arizona State rivalry, with the Big Diesel, Superman himself, Shaquille O'Neal in the building.
Oh my gosh.
Never before heard stories. Some ask type of format where you can ask the fellas questions. Kevin's gonna be there, Eric Ruby's gonna be there. It's gonna be a great time. Make sure you guys get your tickets now and get in on that opportunity, because opportunities like that only happen every so often. Kevin, tickets are available at retail pricing when purchased online or by phone, but discounts are available at the box office only. And get yours now.
I'll be there. My girlfriend will be there. Eric Ruby will be there. Several of my friends will be there.
Like a freaking party, man.
It is. I'll be there from probably 3:30 till wherever the straight game ends, maybe even after that, because UFC 319 is Saturday, and Dricus Duplessis and Hamzat Chimaev are going at it in the main event. So I'll be there for at least the prelims. Head over to the Straight Game podcast. It's going to be an incredible Saturday for me, Damon Dog. I'm very excited, and that's all thanks to our friends over at Gila River Resorts and Casinos, because it's the best place. I'm literally bringing people together at Gila River Resorts and Casinos this weekend that don't usually hang out, because we got birthdays, we got a podcast, we got UFC. It's the hub of all things that our sports entertainment is Gila River. So
I mean, Gila really is the hub just in general. They have everything there, from low scale to upscale dining options, the pool area, the concert. I mean, it's like having Vegas in your backyard.
I mean, shout out to you, 10 Toes Down MMA, who I feel like you've been watching our pod every day, waiting for us to talk about UFC, so you could drop this comment. You said, finally, y'all boys, talk about the UFC.
Just holding on. I mean, you don't have to wait that long. Usually Kevin mentions MMA at least once a show. That's part of our Kevin Thomas drinking game that we play.
Kobe wants to know, is the card going to be on Paramount? The answer is no.
Not
that
yet.
starts in January. This will be on PPV. Or does that still fall under ESPN? The card's going to be awesome. Yes, the card's going to be awesome. Yes, it'll be on pay-per-view. No, it will not be on Paramount. Yes, I am excited. And yes, you can drink because we talked about the UFC. And yeah, Damon, is that going to do it today for us? We do have a little bit of Bryce James to discuss. Erica got the video of him going to the hoop earlier today during practice. We're going to have all of the shorts, all of the clips going out to our socials and to our YouTube after this show pretty much goes off air, because I'm assuming that interview with him is probably done and going to be uploaded by 3:30 here. So keep tabs on our YouTube channel, folks. And I'm excited, Damon.
I'm fired up, Kevin.
Ivan Karchenkov too? Mobile Mawut as well talking? These are three people that I'm genuinely excited to hear from on this roster. And I don't know. Is there anyone you don't want to hear from? Like, everyone on this Arizona roster is pretty interesting, and they have something that I want to hear. So I'm excited about Bryce James, Ivan Karchenkov, and Mobile Mawut's pressers today.
Yeah, fired up about that. And like Kevin said, keep it locked and loaded to our YouTube channel, where we'll be putting up all sorts of YouTube shorts, TikToks, Instagram reels, whatever your poison is that you choose from a social media standpoint. PHNX Sports has got it on there, and make sure you guys follow along for more coverage. Kevin, great discussion today talking about the best trios in college basketball, as well as talking a little bit about Cameron Williams and kind of his standing right now in his recruitment process and where Arizona falls into that recruitment process. But that's going to do it for us today. We're going to have Justin Spears on tomorrow. We're going to recap what's going on with Arizona football fall camp and what he's hearing and seeing out there with his own eyes and ears. So keep it locked in for that. Justin Spears tomorrow at 2 p.m. But until then, peace out, bear down.
And go Cats! Let's talk Bryce James.
We all silly like the mayor.